New code for gun purchases. Letting the credit card companies create a gun registry. Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. This is another declaration of truth from your host, Terry A. Hurlbut. The past several days have seen some alarming announcements about the latest public-private partnership between corporations and governments. Specifically, the International Organization for Standardization, which is abbreviated ISO, has announced that their intention to give gun stores their own merchant category code. Now that's a favor no gun store owner should ask for or receive because it's no favor. By this means, government agencies, the International Criminal Police Organization, and a future United Nations High Commissioner on Small Arms hope to make a list of everyone who buys anything at a gun store or show. Furthermore, credit card issuers can and might use this code to disable their cards whenever a cardholder tries to buy anything in a gun store. Now, I know you're already scratching your heads and shouting, "Merchant category, what?" Have no fear, I'm going to get to all that. But before I get into the details, I do want to shout out to the prime sponsor of this channel, which is Conservative News and Views. Link in the description. Be sure to check out the awesome CNAV Store. Scroll down near the bottom for that link. You'll find lots of great merchandise there, including this t-shirt that I have chosen for today, which reads, "As we're redefining everything, this is a cordless hole punch." You got it. And one more thing. If you like what you're about to hear, well, maybe you won't like it, but if you realize this is the truth, you can like this video. And then click the bell icon to get a notice every time I come out with a new one. In fact, do you see the new icon, the heart shape with the US dollar sign in it? That's a super thanks icon. If you really want to keep these videos coming, click that and leave me a tip. Any currency will do. And now, I answer the question, merchant category, what? Merchant category codes, or MCCs, are 4-digit codes that identify the type of business a merchant is in. It covers the kind of merchandise he sells or the services he provides. Credit card issuers have used MCCs in a positive way to target frequent use rewards to their cardholders. Has your credit card issuer asked you to activate special rewards for purchases of particular classes of goods like groceries or gas? Well, how do you think they're supposed to know that? The answer is they use the MCC to know or guess what kind of purchase you made. A merchant category code is not a merchandise category code. Neither the ISO nor any issuer or payment processor has devised codes for classes of goods you buy. Instead, they devise codes for the store, and those codes apply to the full purchase you made at the store. But a big enough store might have different MCCs at different sales counters. That explains why some salespeople tell you to go to a particular counter to ring up a particular purchase. When a merchant applies for a merchant account so they can accept credit cards, the processor assigns the MCC. No merchant gets to pick or choose. Today, the Visa Merchant Data Standards Manual, to which I've left a link in the description, offers the most complete list of MCCs. Information on this point comes from Merchant Maverick and from NerdWallet. I've left a link in the description to the Merchant Maverick article because that's the one that tells you everything you need to know about MCCs. Now, until recently, gun stores fell under general merchandise. But now, the ruling elite want to break out gun stores as a separate category of merchant. The ISO is part of that. To do that, they invented a merchant category code for gun stores. The reportage on this comes from Reuters and the Associated Press. Now, bear with me. because I'm going to throw at you a lot of terminology that you've never heard unless you run a gun store or any other kind of store. This change that the ISO is making singles out gun stores for many kinds of different treatment. MCCs affect the interchange rate, which is the rate the payment processor charges the merchant for handling a customer's payment. MCCs also determine what sort of chargeback protection is available. Now, chargebacks happen when you, a customer, bring something back to the store and demand a refund. Finally, the MCC identifies whether a merchant may charge a convenience fee for using a credit card. But worst of all, MCCs identify prohibited industries. Some credit card issuers might decide to refuse to process gun purchases or gun store purchases, so they will decline any purchase at a gun store or at a gun counter in a sporting goods store. Even without declining the transaction, the card issuer can track purchases at gun stores, shows, or counters. This becomes the means by which governments can create a gun registry without risking an injunction by a court. Technically, the credit card issuer or payment processor has the gun registry. So, the Bureau of Alcohol, Tobacco, Firearms, and Explosives, or Interpol, can go to the issuer and demand a report of all purchases made with the gun store MCC. Now, what has happened thus far? I'm about to get into that, but before I do, I want to shout out to a sponsor who can really help you through the economic storms to come. That sponsor is oursilverlines.com. Do you feel like you're working harder for your money just to get by? You're not alone. The fluctuating economy, employment issues, unexpected life changes have left many families struggling over the past few years. Collecting gold and silver can help shield you against many of these challenges. But if you're like me many years ago, you don't know where or how to start. Our Silver Lines helps by connecting you with thousands of members who are learning the secrets to creating and protecting true wealth by collecting precious metals. Whether you just want to collect rare and unique coins or take advantage of the business opportunities that company provides, they can help you learn to live an exceptional life. Visit oursilverlines.com to learn how you can build a legacy for your future. All right, here's the deal. 3 major credit card payment processors, Visa, MasterCard, and American Express, have announced that they will cooperate with the ISO. They made general statements paying lip service to protecting customers' privacy. Never mind that. If gun stores and gun counters have their own MCC, if you then buy anything there, they'll know it. Now, I reached out to a local gun store owner who also offers gun safety and marksmanship training. I won't tell you his name because he didn't give me permission, but he told me that he has not yet heard of any such code and will fight it if the credit card issuers assign it to him. In fact, he predicted a class action lawsuit in the millions of dollars over this new MCC. Now, a merchant normally gets an MCC when he applies for or renews his merchant account. Thus, for the major issuers, thus far, the major issuers have only had time to talk about implementing the new code. Clearly, they are not ready to recode the gun stores, nor do they seem to have made up their minds on how they're going to do it. Now, could they push the new code automatically? Just think of the millions of man hours they're going to need just to reread the account applications to decide whether the new code applies. And do you really think they're going to do all that at once? They haven't got the time. So they'll handle the code assignment and renewal, a drib and a drab over the course of a year or 2 or half a year, whatever is the term for a merchant account. So, what should you do? Thus far, only the National Rifle Association has made any kind of specific statement, and I quote them. The industry's decision to create a firearm-specific code is nothing more than a capitulation to anti-gun politicians and activists bent on eroding the rights of law-abiding Americans one transaction at a time. Unquote the NRA. That gun store owner I mentioned, he says that many of his customers pay cash already because cash is easier for them to handle and use. Beyond that, Discover has not said whether they would assign the new MCC to any gun stores, gun merchants. Now, one easy decision is to move out of big cities. New York City Mayor Eric Adams hailed the new MCC for gun stores. I quote, "When you buy an airline ticket or pay for your groceries, your credit card company has a special code for those retailers. It's just common sense that we have the same policies in place for gun and ammunition stores." Unquote, Mayor Eric Adams. Now, I don't have to tell you this. Common sense to a leftist means that no person except a law enforcement officer, an active duty military service member, a properly caused special target, which usually means a very important person, or the bodyguard of such person shall own, carry, or so much as touch, much less discharge a firearm. New York State lost its big gun case, don't forget. But acting Governor Kathy Hochul and Mayor Adams are openly defying that ruling. Now look, get this straight. I am not a lawyer. If you want legal advice, go to a lawyer. That merchant even suggested that everyone who voted for Trump in 2020 chip in $1 each. That would raise at least $75 million. Enough to found a dedicated Second Amendment legal aid society. Now, the only other advice I can offer is to call or write your senators and representatives. Tell them you know about the new MCC for gun stores from the ISO, and you, as a customer, consider that an invasion of privacy, and you want the Congress to forbid it on that ground. Beyond that, the only way to stop any such public-private partnership is with your vote. Midterms are coming up. So, vote against any candidate who supports gun control in any way, shape, or form. A good candidate, if elected, might be willing to draft legislation to forbid the new code. And again, that is an invasion of your privacy as well as an infringement on your right to keep and bear arms. Link in the description to the article, to the Visa Merchant Data Standards Manual, to the complete guide to merchant category codes, and to conservative news and views. I've also left links in the description to the CNAV Store and to oursilverlines.com. As I also mentioned, you know already how to like a video, turn on notifications, and leave a tip. On the end screen, I'm going to leave a subscribe link and also links to earlier videos about gun control, including the one about the big New York gun case. This is Terry A. Hurlbut delivering another declaration of truth and reminding you to let the truth set you free.